And we're back here getting into the pistol round of Follow eSports versus Luminosity Gaming here on DE Cash. And this is going to be a fun one here alongside Pat Sabo Flanagan. I'm Alex AwesomeSauce Greenlee here for this second best of 2 on the night as a really solid, pick for you guys. CSGO Lounge, you guys saying 95% chance that Luminosity is going to win, but we'll have to wait and see, Sabo.
Indeed, we will. Already a little bit of aggression going on the part of Follow eSports Rock on the CT side. You saw Els Hayes, and I think somebody else ran all the way forward, pushing out a B, trying to find some sort of information. They didn't find too much. They did do a little bit of damage to Fallen, though, dropping him down to 29 health. And that's going to force Luminosity Gaming to go ahead and say, you know what, never mind, we're just going to work on some sort of an A strategy. They're setting up right now. One molly in the hands of Cold is going to go out, dropping on top of Quad. Missed it a little bit. One shot. Takes Webbit down up high. Ocean also going to get shut down. And that's Sight.
Yeah, the Sight given to them, and this just looks like it's just AIDS. He's really like to get something done. He does get one, but gets traded out. It's over there. Luminosity really resetting after they're like, oh, well, this isn't going to work. Let's just do an A hit, and they did.
Yeah, it's one of those smart team decisions. In fact, I was screaming about that once when Complexity just pushed the issue, and it was like, okay, this isn't going to work, so let's keep on throwing our bodies into the meat grinder. That happened at A, and then it almost happened again at B. This time around, Luminosity Gaming found themselves in a lot of trouble with Follow eSports pushing out a B. They just turned it right around and tried again at A site, and it worked so beautifully. And I think a lot of that was just kind of good shots, out aiming.
Yeah, Steel lurking over there in this B area and B main, and we've got Bolts here trying to see what they can find here at A. They obviously are going to hit A, but Steel's just trying to play for some sound and force some movement over there, and he is able to get Hades and them to engage a little bit, with Steel getting taken down there by Hades. So now they kind of figured out that this was just the lurk, and now the A execute's going to happen. I don't really know about this. I wonder if this is the right move. But nonetheless, Bolts does entry, gets one, gets traded out, and a lot of chaos ensuing, and it ends up being a 2v3 here for Luminosity as they have to find some footing here to get this next round. They would like to get 2 rounds in a row, obviously, as they probably should, but nonetheless, here comes Ape, does take another one out, and it comes down to Fallen in a 1v3, does get 7 health, and he gets the bomb plant. So now Fallen has to find a way to hold this off against these guys on HP, and it's probably not going to happen, and it doesn't. No. Ape does take him out, and there it is with Follow eSports. Ape with a 3K, and they're back in it.
That's pretty big. That's pretty big for Ape right there, and I think that's really the danger of having such clearly defined roles with your players. You know that Steel is the lurk, so when you see him at one side, it kind of tells you, it's probably not going to be on this side. That's 1-1 right there. Really, I don't think Luminosity Gaming would have been expecting that at all for Follow eSports to peek around the corner. But on, the silver lining in this is the fact that they were able to walk in and get a bomb plant. That's a little bit of money. That sets them up for 1 Tech-9s this round, and then probably a pretty solid buy on the very next round. Right now, Alex, looks like a pretty solid A push, and Follow eSports playing more of a retake strategy.
Yeah, they know that they're probably going to hit A. They hit A every single time, so they're just going to try to get in there and get this done. Fallen really working truck, pre-aiming that, and just firing smoke, trying to prevent somebody from doing anything. Cole does take out Wabbit, and then Hades comes in there and does take another one. And knows behind the box, and Bolts takes him out. So now it's a 4v3 with some Tech-9s and P250s, and I don't know how this is going to pan out. Fallen takes another one out. They're just peeking one-on-one. They need to do this coordinated. Oh, no, the fire. But it gets taken out by the smoke. I'm sorry, bad call. And
look at this 3-stack.
3-stack, and it doesn't work out for Else. And Luminosity wins this round. I'm sorry, I stumbled over my words, but I want to say, it was Fallen that did this, but they just did it together.
That was the weirdest thing. Like, okay, last time around we saw a 2-stack at quad, and because you don't expect to see 2 people in there, so one player goes down, and then the second one goes ahead and gets the trade kill. This time, Luminosity Gaming goes ahead and stacks all 3 into quad. You know that was deliberate. You know they were thinking, okay, if they kill one of us, they'll never think the other's in it. If they kill the other, they'll never think there's a third. Right. Luckily, it didn't come down to that. Luminosity Gaming taking that round right there with some pretty unorthodox strategies.
Yeah, it did work out for me. Now they get mid-control there. And those of you in the chat talking in Portuguese, I want to welcome you guys in. I'm sorry I don't know Portuguese to react with you guys in the chat, but I'm glad to see you guys here today as this is a nice game here, Luminosity, ahead of Follow eSports. 2-1 right now, pretty handily so far right now. And they look to try to get as many rounds as possible. You know, I mean, you kind of expect them to probably get 9, 10, but, you know, don't count out this team and Follow because they are decent. And here it goes. They're going to take... They got highway control. They're pushing up there. Els does get one with a P250, and now it's a 2v4, and they're probably just going to try to go for some exits here as Wabbit does go down, peeking by himself there at Z. Fold. Oh, he's kind of in trouble, but he does hit him with a Glock in the head, and he does get a 4K. That was a huge round for him. Just kind of holding that mid-control.
That was absolutely insane. I mean, he just barely got that 4th kill, too. I mean, the player that he killed was just backing off behind the corner, and it's one of those situations where, like, with the lag and the real time, I'm sure he just, like, on his screen, he was behind the wall and then just fell over dead to the headshot. Such a close call. It is an international competition tonight, right? It is Canada versus Brazil. Luminosity Gaming and Follow eSports, of course. And this time around looks like a little... No, I was going to say a little slower, but no, we're seeing a lot of aggression going on the part of Steel, backed up by Fallen. Bombs in the back, though. It looks like they want to take it towards A. And that's an opening. A-Site goes down single-handedly. Fur with the 2K, 3K.
Oh, and Fur with that last shot right before the camera switch. It was just a dirty headshot, and he does get it done. But Hades... And oh, no, Steel takes his hat off. And now this...
Luminosity can do whatever they want at this point. Yeah, walk into B site and wreck L's, or walk into A. They're a smart team, though, right? So they're going to go ahead and take the bomb towards A because they know that's a free. They know that's a given. And if L's goes full tilt mode, at least they're going to have the bomb plant and have some sort of a 1v1 situation.
Yeah, and Fallen is going to go ahead and plant that. He's going to plant it for Squeaky. And this is clearly defined as a round Luminosity's going to win. Let's look at the economy here. And they've lost 2 in a row. It's going to be 3 in a row. They are going to be able to buy this next round. At least they should be able to, depending on what they want to get. However, Wabbit and Ocean don't have a kill. Steel does take out L's. And Wabbit and Ocean don't have any frags. And that's a problem. But they are going to try to piece together a buy.
It is absolutely a problem. Of course, Wabbit is the AWPer, and then Ocean is the in-game leader. So, I mean, not to make excuses for them, but, okay, Wabbit hasn't had a chance to go ahead and pull out the AWP. Now he does. Ocean, he's busy trying to outthink Luminosity Gaming. Okay, I get that, but at the same time, you can't have 2 players make 0 kills. Somebody's got to do some work, and that's going to be Wabbit. Taking a shot, not going to do anything through the smoke, though.
Oh, and Wabbit does get taken out by Fallen, so we see this kind of duel there. And Fallen does take the better half of that one. Bolt's taking out Hades, and now Els, and the bomb's just kind of staying back. Fallen does take another one. He's just picking them apart, kill for kill, and another one for him. He's got 3. And Fallen, really nice execution from him. Ocean, in vent, knows that they're at B, but there's really not much he can do here in a 1v5.
Well, it's the Fallen show tonight. That's a 3K. Ocean's just gonna unload. What's up with that spray? Unable to go ahead and make a kill on Told Zero. Walks right into Fallen's op. That's gonna make that a 4K round for Fallen. And ladies and gentlemen, you see it tonight. This is why I would say Fallen is probably a number 2 or number 3, definitely in the top 3 AWPers in the Western Hemisphere. You know, he might even be able to hold a candle to Skadoodle very, very soon if he keeps playing like he has recently.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat, although I can't read Portuguese, are saying Fallen, 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 Fallen. Well, guess what?
He's incredible.
Fell because he got a 4K. Huge round for him, and that's really going to open it up. And Bolts just rips L's head off. Nice job for him to get that done. I know the regoing. I don't want to hype that, but it was a good shot. And so now Luminosity just taking this slow. They got that pick on B, so they're just going to go ahead and fire Heaven off and throw a bunch of fire into the site. And once they know that it's clear and nobody's came out, they're just going to go and get the bomb plant. Ocean, the IGO for this team.
Oh, he got tagged.
Yeah, he did get tagged a little bit, but he does hear that the bomb goes down, and it's going to force this rotate in from everybody else. Ape and Hades and Wabbit are going to try to rotate in. They're going to try to work main mid-warehouse, but Fur in dumpster.
Oh, just walks out and makes it look easy. That's a headshot. Bolt's also doing a little bit of work right now, and That's an op shot from the man with the plan that's fallen, leaving Ape all alone in the corner. Look at him. His knees are shaking. CZ-75 in hand, no armor. Flashed. Doesn't completely take him out, though. Peeks around the corner. Can he take Fallen out? No, he cannot. Burr shooting him in the back.
Yeah, just a flawless round there for Luminosity. It just, you know, in this map, you know, we kind of say, you know, it's T or CT side. I tend to say that it's CT sided normally, but you know, Dust Moretta in a couple casts ago pointed out something that in Europe it's more of like a CT side, but in North America it's more of like T side. But now we've got Brazil and Canada. I don't know what to say. Nonetheless, Luminosity does have the advantage here, very strong-handedly here. But Cold does go down early in the round.
Well, that's at least a slight opening, but Fur's going to respond, taking 80s down very quickly. And that's another one.
Oh, Wabbit takes out Fallen there from Quad. That's just going to really eliminate a threat, but then the threat does get eliminated again as Bolts does bolt his way. Haha, sorry, I had to do it. Into A, and now it's Bolts, Steel, and Fur with a majority of the map control. Oh, and that was a dirty headshot by Bolts to take out Else. And Ape in highway mid, and it looks like they're going to get the bomb plant at A, and Ape's going to kind of be in a situation where he has to make a decision. You know, do I try to take a few of these players out or not? It looks like he is going to try to fight, but now he's going to bail.
Not going to work, though. Jumps up towards Van, finds the Van's not quite broken yet. Turns around just to find a bullet coming straight to his face. Luminosity Gaming's already up 7-1 on the first map of the night, and interesting thing to note is Luminosity chose this map. It's their own map pick. However, Follow eSports, if you look at their historical data, this goes all the way back through SKDC and all that. Their most picked map and the most wins ever have both been on Cache. That's actually the map with their highest win percentage. This is their comfort zone, and if they're going down 7-1 already against Luminosity Gaming, it kind of tells you how the rest of the match, how the rest of the game is probably going to go, and that's why CS:GO Lounge is showing 95% and 5%.
Yeah, Wabbit trying to make something happen here with his 5-7, but he loves the op. He just doesn't have it right now. He gets flashed in the middle of mid, goes down to Steel. Cole takes out Hayes. An Ocean comes back and gets one, so that's nice. He's got an AK with 14 health, and Fallen comes with a Rec 9 and says, my autograph's on this.
Yeah, that's another good point about Luminosity, though. I mean, this is a team that's been going to the major tournaments. They've been all around playing top European talent. They've held a candle. They've tied up, taking Envious into overtime. They fought against Fnatic. Whenever you do that, whenever you're forced to play on this next level, you're going to grow as a team. Luminosity has had multiple chances to do this. Follow eSports, not so much. And I think the scoreline is really starting to tell that story tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting caught out of position. They're pushing issues a little bit too early, especially you see Hades go down there at A main. Just some plays that maybe are questionable. You know, it's like, why are you doing that? And I'm not going to ask that question why. I'm just saying maybe, like, okay, we'll try to get a tell. You know, try to get some tell. You know, tell us what's going on there at A main, and he goes down. So maybe some information's traded for it. Yeah, the tell. You know, he does trade the information maybe, but this is just not. I don't know. This is just telling a different story. I mean, I can talk about this all day long about Luminosity's 8-1 right now, but this game and the way that they're playing is telling the story pretty much for us, Sabo, so far.
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're going to see some sort of an execute on the B side, and this game reminds me of one of my Wolfenstein teams called the Birds, who got wrecked so hard by all of the top teams, and I called them out on it so much that they made me the honorary captain for the next 3 seasons. And Follow eSports is certainly struggling right now. You can see the bomb going down right now. L's backing off into CT spawn, trying to hang on to that gun. Ocean, 4 health. He's trying to do the same. Problem is, it's such a predictable location. If Luminosity chooses to push the issue, I think we'll see a 2K.
Yeah, that's the question. Are they going to do that? Steel creeping his way through tree, or other people call it team or B main. Not really B main, but I call it tree nonetheless. But he does see Else. He is going to flash in there and see what he can do. And I'm not so sure he's gonna get this done here. He knows if he dies here, he doesn't get. Well, and that's just how it's gonna end up.
It don't matter.
So
I mean, $15,000.
Well, yeah, they do have a lot of money. And you make an interesting point. You know, I mean, we can sit here and analyze this all day and talk about how Luminosity's winning these rounds. But, I mean, the only round that Follow Esports has won is the second round when they defused it. And they are screwed in a lot of ways here. But they do get a good buy setup.
That was not against the fully bought-out Luminosity game. We haven't seen a single gun round win by Follow Esports. Yeah, instead, it was one of these anti-eco thing. Look at Els getting aggressive. Not going to pay off.
No, I mean, he does take him down to 11 and get some information, but I'm not so sure that's really what they wanted. Fur's going to take down Wabbit, but Bolts get dinked. And now it's a 5v3, and even though Bolts is tagged down to 11, is really throwing your body like that in front of him worth that information? I'm not so sure it is. The round's young, and it's looking really just like Luminosity knows their game plan, and maybe they're practicing some new things. Like they know Mirage is good for them. Maybe this is one of the things they come in here and they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna rock. But Ocean does take Fur's head off, and some of these players are tagged pretty heavily for Luminosity. And if Ape can see this, he might be able to do something. He's going to throw an ape, and Ocean gets one. Oh, they're tagged pretty heavily. It's 10, 22, and 11 respectively for Luminosity. The fire coming out. Ape gonna have to peek. Gets one, but gets traded out. And so now it's Ocean. And this is very doable for Follow. If they can get this kill early, if they can get one of them, they can get two of them easy. But uh-oh, the counter boost happens. Cold catches him. Crosshair wasn't anywhere in an ability to hit him. The bomb looks like it's outside of Ven, and I wonder if the bomb's going to bolt it to A. Uh-oh. Hades takes off Bolt's head, and there it is. Follow gets their second round, a 2K for Hades. Ocean really instrumental in that round for them, and
that's the first gun round for Follow Esports right there. So that's actually kind of a big deal. However, Follow Esports has so much work to do in order to break the Luminosity gaming economy. Look at this. They lost a round. They bought out full, and after buying out full, you have two members who have over $10,000 for Luminosity Gaming. So it's going to take a lot of round wins for Follow Esports to finally break that economy and start to turn this around. And there's not that many rounds left. We're already up to number 12, and Follow Esports, they have no momentum. This is exactly a turning point. And look at this. Luminosity Steel walks around, sprays continuously, just moving his crosshair around, gets one, almost gets the 2K himself.
Yeah, here comes the retake here. They need this, but Bolts gets fire, and there goes the IGL Ocean, goes down, and now it's Els and Fallen here. And this fight heavily favors Fallen, and Ape trying to work aim. He's going to go, but Fallen misses a shot. Very uncharacteristic for him, and nonetheless it does happen. Ape working aim main, trying to get it done, but it doesn't matter because the round ends. Luminosity wins that, and it's going to force their economy to reset, even though they didn't really have much of one to begin with. And it's almost like, and I'm not saying that Luminosity lost that last round on purpose, because obviously they didn't. They had enough money, they didn't care. But it's almost like you wonder, like, okay, well, they won a round, Follow won a round, yay. But then it's like they lose the next round, and their economy resets. And now that loss bonus, that max loss bonus you get after 5 rounds doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that's a deliberate strategy at all for Luminosity Gaming, but it's an interesting point to bring up for Follow Esports. I don't think that the Follow Esports economy is even going to become a factor at this point, unless they can get just massive amounts of wins right here. Look at Fur walking in, holds the spray down, gets the 2K, he's going to work his way towards Truck. Ape really should have got that kill right there because, I mean, Fur wasn't ready for it, runs out of ammo, and then unloads with the Tech 9. Somehow, miraculously, is able to go ahead and get that kill. That's a 3K round for Fur. Bomb goes down, the rest of the team gets mopped up, and it's 11-2. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, it just looks like Luminosity is rolling so heavily here. They have a lot of room to work with here, 11-2 right now. They've got enough rounds. It's really just going to come down to what Follow's like mentality is. Like, you know, obviously right now you're not really thinking of this map, although it is possible, but you're not really thinking of map 1. You're thinking of map 2 now, and your mind has to be, okay, well, can we get some more rounds and start thinking about Inferno, and can we do that? But I don't really know if that's going to happen. Some of these players are going to push out of B main. Ape does get one, Rabbit does get another, so it did pay off pretty well, and they do get kills. But the problem is they're over on A site.
Yeah, it's one of these situations where Follow Esports chose to flip a coin and stack all their eggs in one basket. That's going to be the B basket. They push out, they get all the information they need, they get a couple of kills. That's great. But now trying to retake, that's Fallen with op shots, taking it down to a 3 versus 3 on the retake. Very, very hard thing to do. And nobody's going to be in a real position to trade. You got 8 going towards Squeaky. That's a long ways away. And then Wabbit and Els are going to have to force up the same angle. Peeking around the corner. That's going to be an off shot by Fallen. Can he find another? Not going to happen. And, yeah. Anticlimactic retake by Follow.
Yeah, they've got to be really upset and frustrated. And, and you kind of feel for them in a way because you're like, okay, like we're doing okay. We're getting some kills. But then we forget about the site. And then they come into A side and they just take it. And Fallen gets a 2K. And then it's just a nightmare. So well, now I'm curious to see what they're going to do on this last round here in the half.
Yeah, it's about more than kills, though. Otherwise, it'd be Quake 3 deathmatch all over again. And unfortunately, Follow Esports is struggling with gaining the kills that matter, gaining the important positions, and holding it down. And here it is. Hades just stuck in a bad position behind Toxic. He's going to go down to the Toxic, or to the what they call Squeaky player. And that's Sight very quickly. Ocean already on the retake, along with Ape. Ocean, I like the position, standing up high, trying to get some sort of information, chooses to go heaven, and then backs up and falls over again. Flanked by Steel, and then peeked, shot in the back by Cold.
Yeah, that was frustrating. I mean, nice job for him to get those kills and try to get some information, but you also have to consider the fact that they had some issues, like specifically on the subject of pushing one by one. Like, they peaked one by one. I don't understand why. They just peaked one by one. Like, you'd think that they would just make a hiding, wait, and then pounce, especially when they have a lot of money and a lot of guns to work with. But they literally just peaked one peaks down, one peaks, and it's just frustrating.
There could be so many things going on. I mean, first off, you're facing off against Luminosity Gaming, who's just been on fire recently. I mean, they are an ESL team. In fact, they made it to the semifinals over all the other North American teams. Like CLG didn't make it, Cloud9 didn't make it, LG made it. That's intimidating to go up against a team like that. I mean, I think you know how it is when you're expecting to get wrecked and then you don't play nearly as well as you could have, so you lose the rounds that maybe should have been won. And then the other situation is once you've got a scoreline like this where you lose, how many rounds in a row do we have? Like the whole game. Yeah. It's just your psychological state you get deflated where you stop like thinking and focusing on the game, and instead you just start kind of running around and playing the game on autopilot, and that's not going to work against Luminosity.
No, it's not, and they didn't string together 2 rounds in a row. They only got 1 and 1, and and that's something that they are going to work with, as each other, as they get better and as Follow works together more and they learn each other's play styles. I mean, they were handed a pretty hard hand here so far, but let's wait and see what happens. I mean, could Follow Esports try to string together this pistol round and get a nice string of rounds? I don't know, but I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do. Do they do a fake B and then try to run around mid and do a split or something, or do they just all 5 run through A main and just go trains with Glocks and they just run through there and go? I don't know. I'm curious to see. I think really the game's not really what I'm concerned about now. I'm concerned about this next round because it really is going to dictate the game. Now, obviously, I do say that, but obviously Luminosity's dictating the game, and I'm not trying to downplay what they're doing because what they're doing is nice and it's very, very good, and it's what we expect from them. But Follow just really didn't get anything going, and specifically, like, you didn't really see specifically their opper Wabbit really get anything going. He couldn't get any kind of motivation.
Yeah, he's been struggling, but I mean, how can you do it? You've only got 2 round wins right there, so that's not a whole lot of kills to go around. Look at the top fragger right now for Follow Esports. That's going to be Hades with 6. Like, what, you got 6, 6, and 6, and then 4. That's it. Wabbit, I don't have information on him right now because he actually dropped out of the game. He'll be coming back shortly as we prepare for the second half. In light of that, I think what we'll want to do is jump into a quick break. We're going to cut away. We'll be right back just to update you on what's going on. It's Luminosity Gaming versus Follow Esports. This is our second matchup of the night. First map, that is Cash, LG's own map choice, and then the second map is going to be Inferno. Your CSGO lounge odds are staggeringly in favor of Luminosity Gaming, 95% versus 5%. Yeah, it's got to be huge. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. It's Luminosity Gaming versus Follow Esports after a lengthy delay. I guess something happened to Wabbit. His internet went down, and they were talking about getting a stand-in, somebody to sub in for Wabbit, but he made it back. So we do have the original roster of Follow Esports as we roll into the second half of the first map of Cash. Scoreline 13-2.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this is going to turn out. I mean, they had a lot of time to talk about this first round, and I think they're going to try to do an A hit here just by that. But the counter boost is happening. Ferg gets taken out from Else, and Else get another one. So a nice job breaking down that mid defense, and now Bolt has to hold from quad and try to do something, but is taken down by Ape. And now this 2v5 retake, probably not going to happen, but never know, as some of these players are tagged pretty heavily here for Follow. Ocean holding
Watch
the
Ocean.
angle right next to the beautiful, luxurious,
Wow.
nice area, but it doesn't work out there. And Forklift, it was a good position for him to hold, and they did get the round, and nobody died. I don't think anybody died, did they?
Nobody died.
Nobody died
at all.
Not only that, but like for them to get that round is huge for them.
Well, it was pretty much game over if they lost, right? You got a 13-2 score line in that situation. Well, it would be 14-2. 2 points away from complete annihilation on Cash. So this is absolutely huge for Follow Esports. You see they're sparing no expense, buying out as full as they can because they need to take the momentum and just go on the biggest winning streak of their lives against the best team they've played this season. It's not likely going to happen, but this is Counter-Strike. Anything can and will happen as we see a huge grouping just outside of mid.
And Wabbit, you know, the opper and that kind of person for this team hasn't really had much of an op in his hands in this game. Right now he's got an AK, and they did buy pretty much full rifles except Ocean with that UP45. He is going to be entering the site through checkers. They do spot Steel, but Steel gets one. So now they're going to push through, and now it's a 4v3 here. Ocean does get a kill there on Fur. A nice job with that UP45. And this round's going to go towards Follow as they are going to get this round here. Nice job for them. Unless Cold, barring Cold, just decides he wants to jump in. And I think he'd really like to save his armor.
Yeah, I mean, he's got armor, he's got a helmet, and he's got a CZ75. That's a lot of money invested right there for Cold. Best hang on to it, go for some sort of exit picks. But what I want to say is Follow Esports, it's like a completely different team this time around. Maybe their T side is just really, really strong on Cash. I don't know, but they walked right in on the first round and just motored through a site, fought out full, and they're only losing one player. Check it out. Cold's trying to do a little bit of work. He's able to take Wabbit down. That's actually really frustrating for Wabbit because he is the offer. He's going to have to rebuy, and that's going to delay the purchase of an off for just that much later in the game. So that could become a factor if Follow continues to go on some sort of a victory spree. But keep in mind, we are only 3 points away from first map victory for Luminosity Gaming. It is a long, hard struggle.
Yeah, and the match being paused here. Luminosity up 13-4. They are going to eco again, it appears. And you kind of wonder why they pause, and I wonder what's going on here.
Well, I'm looking at pings and all that, and I don't see anything serious going on for Wabbit. I was worried that he was going to get disconnected or something of that nature.
And there it is.
And he's gone.
He's gone. A Wabbit going bye-bye. And Ripperino. And that's unfortunately just how it is going to end there. And yeah, it's...
Yeah, very unfortunate.
No, they said, Ape just said that they're going to use a different fifth here. They do have somebody ready to come in for him.
I wonder if there's some sort of lag issues going on for Wabbit in and during that round. Maybe that's part of the reason why he ended up getting killed right there. So I guess we're going to get some sort of an other sub pulled in. I mean, I'm looking at my notes right now, and I don't actually see a regular sub in the roster for Follow Esports. The only person I see is Will Peralta Bennett, who's the team manager, and I'm pretty sure, based on my experience with a lot of these team managers, you don't want that guy stepping in and playing for you. I mean,
Well, but in this situation,
usually.
maybe.
Stunna has done it. Stunna has done it for Cloud9, which is really something. I need to see a demo of that because he stepped in during certain situations. In fact, he almost stepped in at ESWC when nothing was like deathly ill, wearing an ice bag on his head. There were conversations. Stunna was going to step in, and I think like if you look at him on matchmaking, I think he's LE or LEM or something like that. So there's a little bit of difference from LEM play to pro play.
Oh, well, certainly. Well, and and me being an LEM in the game too, there is a big difference. I played against some pros, and they are phenomenal, and I think you have as well. You played against Simps earlier, and so this kind of stuff is true, and so that's just kind of how it is. But nonetheless, we are waiting for this fifth to come back in here as Wabbit is having some internet issues. Sabo, you got anything else? Because I really feel like we should. I'm first talking about Truck wanting to play our in-game cameraman.
Our cameraman in that'll be entertaining. I think I know exactly where you're going on this. I was thinking the same thing. Scoreline, guys, right now is 13-4, and I'm so sorry. We're going to jump back into yet another break as we wait on this sub to come in for the op of Follow Esports. That's Wabbit, who's dropping out for, who knows, some crazy network issues going on up there in Vancouver, British Columbia. Oh, well, as I say that, guess what? We've got Desi stepping in.
Yeah, there you go. And Desi coming in here, what do you know about Desi?
Desi, well, let's see. He's currently not on any teams. He's a solid player, though. I want to look at his past 3 months history because that tells you a little bit more clear information about this player. I mean, he's solid. I mean, HLTV ratings 1.03. Anything greater than 1 is considered decent, right? Huge headshot percentage of 48.5%. He's a decent player, that's for sure. But keep in mind, he's subbing, so the chemistry is not going to be there. I'm not so sure if he plays op or anything of that nature, so they might have to figure something out with Follow Esports, who's going to be opping and doing all that. And you're going up against Luminosity Gaming, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and here it is. They are going to go ahead and go for this here. So Desi does get an AK in his hands. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here because we did not expect anything like this to happen. But then again, welcome to the internet and welcome to Counter-Strike here on CEVO on MLG.TV here. And this looks like an all-out mid-assault here from Followers. They're going to get aggressive control, but they don't know that 4 of those players there for Luminosity are stacked onto B. But Hades takes out 1 and says, well, that's okay. We're going to make it 3. So now they re-smoke off connector. They're trying to get mid-control work. They do. They get another frag. And a really nice play for them so far. Ferg trying to take out Ocean. Oh, and that pull-out time for the CZ almost cost him his life. He is going to get the frag there. It's now Steel in a 1v5. Clearly just going to try to get a kill here if he can. And it's just not going to happen there. So Follow gets the round, the bomb plant, and they're doing okay so far.
Well, Follow Esports, they've got yet another point on the board, but now this is the real test for them. In fact, it's a huge test for them. It's going to be a gun round for Luminosity Gaming. Not a great gun round either. That's going to be cold with FAMAS. Otherwise, it's pretty solid. You got Fallen with the op. And Desi, I looked at his stats over here. HLTV, past 3 months history, has 0 sniper kills at all. He's not an offer. That's not his game. He's an AK. So the team is completely without a dedicated offer at this point. So it could spell some serious trouble for Follow Esports going forward.
Well, not that they were already in trouble already, Sabo, and I know you and I both agree on that, but hell, there's more trouble in paradise.
The levees have broken. That's how bad it is.
Well, but I mean, they've strung together 3 rounds here so far, and the question is, can they get a 4th here? Cold up there on the end. Trying to spot. Fallen does get an op, and this is dangerous when he gets a gun in his hand, and it's already just turning into a nightmare in paradise as Hades is left in a 1v5 and Squeaky and a dream, and I don't think this is going to happen. And it doesn't. Bulls takes him out. Nice round for Luminosity, and this is going to put it on map point here after this next round if they can do it again. But Follow's going to be able to buy here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terribly surprising, but Luminosity Gaming, they ought to be expecting something like this. These are players who are at the top of their game. They kind of understand the way the economy goes and follow esports. Yeah, they had a couple of good rounds. They kept a couple of players alive. In fact, they had the one perfect pistol round, which is pretty darn impressive going up against Luminosity Gaming. That's some extra cash in the bank right there for you. So, AK's in hand. Fallen says, yeah, good night. I'm going to take one. Pop flashes himself out. Let's see how this works out. Blinds all of them, but luckily, Follow Esports not foolish enough to peek it. There's a second pop flash. That's not going to do anything. And instead, the players are backing off back to mid.
Yeah, and that they are, Sabo, and just really trying to feel this round out. I mean, they're down a man. What's going to happen here? They're trying to see what they can do, and we're going to see what happens here with this fourth position there from Fur. Hearing a lot of metal clatter, and he's kind of seeing what's going to happen here. He's going to flash himself out, but nobody's going to peek him. And now they've kind of fallen back out. No pun intended here for falling or anything like that. Obviously, I'm not saying he's the one who did it. Oh, they spot him in A, and it's just a full-out spray scene. It trades out into a 3v3, and Steel has to get back and be careful. He does go down to Desi, so Desi does get a nice shot there. A nice stand-in shot for him. So then, this Fallen's got this op, and that's like a dangerous pop, but he does whiff the shot. And this looks like a round for Follow, barring Fur, with some miraculous play here coming next.
Well, I mean, if anybody can do it, it's going to be Fur, right? He's such an aggressive player. He's a good entry fragger. Spots one, takes him. Problem is his position's been given up, and you don't expect Desi to be sitting on top of the lockers over there. Crosshair just sweeps past that position, and Fur quickly goes down to Desi, who's subbing in for the fallen offer of Wabbit. Rest in peace, internet connection. 6-14 is the scoreline, though, so Follow Esports certainly coming back a little bit. Luminosity, you can tell their attitude right now. They're not happy about what just happened. They're going to force up. Screw it. We're going to force buy, and we're going to win this thing now. At least that's the plan. Let's see how the scouts work.
Yeah, that's true. And you take a look here and what's going on here. And I'm very interested to see what Luminosity's got planned. Clearly, they're playing passive on the east side. They know that it's going to happen. Bolts does. A lot of these players are tagged pretty low for these teams. And, oh no, nobody has health for Follow, but they do have the rifles. They're going to try to enter into A side. Steel does get one, gets traded out. Now it's fallen in a 1v3 and a scout. Doesn't happen. Follow gets the round.
That's just unnecessary aggression going on by Luminosity Gaming. That's the sort of thing that that Nylum used to always do. Complexity now, right? Used to always do just force buy, and make something happen out of nothing. And the truth is, Follow Esports, even though you're outplaying, you're outclassing these guys over and over again, you need to buy properly. I guess it really didn't affect Luminosity Gaming too much. They realized that they had, a couple of losses in a row. They did the calculations, and they understand I can still get a decent buy. You're going to see an off in the hands of Fallen, but you know what? Hell, that headshot from Desi is going to open things up.
Yeah, and Desi, I think, I'm looking at his Twitter, the last time that he stood in for somebody, according to his Twitter, was Team Liquid, and they lost 2-1 to CLG in the Go RGN tournament, and so he's a stand-in for them. So clearly somebody on a team that's got some impact, so he does do good there, and now it's left to him and Hades to try to get this bomb down. But can they do it? That's really the question here. They do have a 2v2, but Bolts...
Oh, he's faking.
Making some noise.
Yeah, he's making them very, very cautious about something in vents. You see Desi check in the corner, and Bolt on the flank with the M4 silence coming around. Hades suspects something. He's got his crosshair looking that direction. If he looks away, he just now looked away. Bolt whiffs the shots, gets his position up, and gets killed because of it. A little bit too much aggression, a little too excited, and that's going to cost Luminosity Gaming a round.
Yeah, it is, and now they're kind of forced to save again. They're trying these forced buys. It's just not working out. They want to close this out. They still have a pretty good chance to do it. But with a team of full AKs, and they don't have an opper, Foul's going to be playing a little bit more of an aggressive style because they don't have anybody to pick mid or pick B or pick A for that matter. They don't have, that stick shooter. So now, this could change the game plan, and what Luminosity might have known about Follow eSports just changes in a flash.
Well, it looks like we might see some boost strategy going up mid. That's going to be 8, taking the first peek and taking Fur down very quickly. Desi might find himself in a world of trouble. Gets peeked through the door, gets a kill. When all the trades are said and done, it's down to Fallen and Cold. All alone, Cold down to 30 health on the A site. Bomb goes B. This should be a pretty easy bomb plant and should be a solid hold by Follow eSports.
Yeah, that's definitely looking like what's going to be with the feet of Fallen have been spotted by Ape, but we're going to have to wait and see what he can do with that. And Ape's just going to fall back. Here, try to see what he can do. Fallen chasing after him, trying to do something. Does go down, so now it's Cold left with this AK-47 and no armor.
I don't understand what was going on with Fallen. I mean, he just put himself completely out in the open. No cover left, no cover right, and just relying on a pistol to take the shot. I mean, maybe he just got caught with his pants down, but it's just the positioning was certainly questionable. This time, Cold Zera, very patient play. Unfortunately, maybe just a little bit too patient. He's working on tracking that one player, and then Ocean just peeks out and says, yeah, no, good night.
Yeah, no, he didn't follow. When we said they were out of this, have followed up, and now they are in a position that's plausible. I mean, they've got 9 rounds. Luminosity has 14, but now it's a gun round. You give Fallen his op, and now we need to see where he goes with this. He is going to go towards upper B and try to drop and get a quick pick there at B main. Unfortunately, everybody for Follow is like, let's do a quick A hit. And they're moving in there very quickly, making a lot of noise. They're not, doesn't look like they're faking it, but bolts
on boost.
Boosted very up top there. Could cause some serious issues as these smokes are going to rain in here. Bolts just throw another smoke just to delay them a little bit longer. But I think that they're going to try to come out of here anyway. Desi does come out, does spot Bolts. Bolts doesn't know that he's spotted. And Desi kind of whiffed. I don't know, maybe didn't see him. And nonetheless, it does go into an even trade there. Hades get up there on red, gets a kill. Fur goes down, and this is just looking like a solid round for Follow.
I really didn't expect this to be happening right here. Now Fallen's the last man standing with the AWP. I think he's just going to go for exit kills. But that, I mean, what are you going to say? You see Bolt's in a really good position at boost. He gets the 1-for-1 trade, and then that's about it. The only other player left standing is cowering in the corner at default plant spot on A site, and he gets peeked in from above. It was just absolutely disappointing for Luminosity Gaming. Maybe they're playing a little bit too passive, hanging back. Meanwhile,
Fallen gets a 4K and shatters the defense, even though they get the round. That's got to be annoying because they lose all that money, and they all tried to peek him one-on-one. Why would you do that?
It's absolutely ridiculous. You know what that did is it cost Follow eSports a tremendous amount of money. Just luckily, they have so much more in the bank, so it's not going to put a dent in their economy for this specific round. But it is confidence building for Fallen, that's for sure. He sees, I can still do my thing. I can still 4K. I can still ace if need be. So maybe start playing a little bit smarter with the team and get something down. Look at the aggression, though. Fallen peeking.
Yeah, but Fallen came over from B to A, and I think they changed it up because they know that they're preferentiating this A side. They are going to throw some smokes and stuff. It looks like it's going to be a fake, and that it really is. Hayes is going to be the only one there that's kind of playing passive in Squeaky, while the other 4 players are working their way towards B. But Fur, over there in B main, is going to hear some stuff going on. He does get killed, but nonetheless, he does find some information, and they just picked the wrong site. They fell for it, and now they're going to have to play retake here. But it's a problem because Hades is behind them, and he's going to be coming up towards CT. And Fallen and Cold, if they don't get in here fast and get a kill, this could be a problem. Lots of kills going down. Els, Desi, Hades all getting some kills, getting their share, and now it's Steel left in a 1v4 with a Deagle, and it looks like he's just going to save.
Yeah, I mean, the Deagle's expensive enough. You may as well hang on to that gun. But it looks like he's actually forcing the issue, peeking up, maybe trying to get some sort of an exit kill from Ben. Oh, there's some shots being fired right there. Shots fired. And he's going to back off, hang on to that gun. Doesn't expect to see Hades coming in from A side, takes a grenade, and then an AK-47 is going to finish that round off. So Follow eSports clearly coming back right now. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 6 rounds in a row in favor of Follow eSports. So the scoreline's starting to look very similar to what Luminosity did back on their T side. So maybe Cash just suddenly extremely T-sided. That's the story.
Yeah, you know, we talked about that, and maybe 13-2. I mean, 13-2 should have been enough, but now they're just struggling to get anything going. But following him in score position, this could be good if he does get one. He does get one, throws a flashbang, and does get spotted, but he's still alive, and that's the most important thing here is he gets the tell and gets some information that there's more players in B main. And now that you have Bolts and Cold over on the other side of the map, knowing that they're not in A, oh no, but it looks like everybody from Follow except Desi's just going to try to work back towards A, but they don't know that Cold and Bolts are in Squeaky. And then you have Bolts who's going to be able to spot this early.
Oh, he gets the kill.
He gets Ocean, and he gets traded out.
That's brilliant. Cold's also in there pushing the issue. Trades a few shots with L's, and he's going to end up taking L's down. So that puts us down to a 4 versus 2 situation, and it's looking almost unwinnable now. Desi's able to do some work. He takes Fallen down, so that's your star Opper, and that's going to open up Highway, forces Steel to fall back, and Fur suspects something might be going on, so they start restacking the B site with Fur all alone. Wise decision, too, because the bomb is going to go that direction.
Yeah, and they're going to have to make a lot of noise to get in here pretty quick. They got 24 seconds, but Fur takes him out with his grenade. And Desi, I said that, but then he actually throws a nade. I meant that, you know, Desi had a grenade out and he gets taken out with it there. But nonetheless, that's the round that they needed.
Wow.
Now, although Follow has enough money for full rifles here.
That was so much back and forth going on right there.
Right.
I mean, you saw the T's pushing on B site, went back to A, and then they ended up going back towards B. But I think the real key was Fallen opening it up, and then those 2 A site players who pushed up into the weirdest position. I think, what was it, Cold and Fur, doing all the work at A site.
Yeah, and now this is really just going to come down to the poise of Luminosity to close this out. They want to get this done now. They don't want to let Follow get another round and force them into an eco. And that would be bad for them, as this full A execute looks like it might happen. Their Hate's trying to throw smoke, just trying to fake it. But no, it is going to be, looks like an A hit. But then Ape takes out Fur. Nice job for him, as that was a kill that was very important. Cold does get one.
Looked like it lagged for half a second over there.
It did lag for a little bit there. I was like, that's not hesitating there. But nonetheless, L's does go down. Desi does go down. And now it's left in a 2v1 here.
That's a 2K.
For the map.
Ape's going to come walking in from a Highway, takes one down. That puts us into a 1v1 clutch situation. Ape from Highway. Bolts knows exactly what's going on thanks to that flashbang and thanks to his fallen comrade. Another flashbang over here. Throwing mollies to try to flush him out. Does so. Didn't expect him to go on the right side, though. That's going to be Bolts with match point headshot. And that's a 16-11 scoreline at the end of the first map.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, Sabo, that they closed it out. And they needed to close it out. Follow coming back, doing some good work there. And as you and I were like talking over each other a little bit there, we're just like, okay, what's going to happen here? Like, is it going to happen? Like, are they going to get the next round? And then it just didn't work. So good job there for Luminosity to get it done. I think that they needed that. And now with Follow with Desi here, not saying Desi can't play, but now like it's like, okay, well, what's going to happen here? There's no op here for Follow, so this could change the way Luminosity plays it.
It's Inferno. You don't necessarily need a strong op presence on Inferno. There's a couple of ways to play this sort of thing. You typically, if you're going to have an op, it's either going to go over towards Arch is like the default position for an opper, right? You're going to be looking down there. You could go down for the mid peak, and then every now and then you'll float it over towards B site. But other than that, there's not a lot of angles and positions that really cater to heavy opping. It's more of a positional take, AK-47 kind of a map over there. So I don't know that would necessarily wreck Follow eSports. What will wreck them is the fact that you've got Luminosity Gaming, who has one of the best oppers in the world. So even though you don't have a whole lot of opportunities for the op, on those certain hotspot locations, you're going to have to deal with perhaps the second, perhaps the third best opper in North America. that's tough. It pretty much shuts down mid or shuts banana down. Take your pick.
Yeah, that's true, and you made a good point about the whole the op thing there. It's really not going to matter, and I agree with you to a point. However, if Follow does get some rounds here on T side, because they're obviously starting T side, if they
Right.
do get some rounds early, what I'm saying is that they could use that op as CT, and play. And they could have played Wabbit, arch side. They instead of peeking mid aggressively and trying to, work against Fallen, they could have done something like that. But now that even if they get this like half and they do get 5, 6, 7 rounds, if they do, then they have to be concerned about we don't have that op presence. That's what I was saying. But I do agree that it is not as like big of a deal as say like on a map like Mirage or
Right,
a map like
exactly.
Cobblestone. So I agree with you there. What I am concerned about is what they're thinking. What is going through Follow's head right now? And I don't really know. I mean, Wabbit's
Well,
not here. Their op's
they've got to
not
be
here.
feeling
What's going
good.
to happen?
They got to
Yeah.
be feeling pretty good after that scoreline. 16-11 on cash. I mean, that's something. Before we get into it too much, let's cut into the Alpha Draft halftime recap and take a look at some of these box scores right here and see who really represented, who's putting up the really big numbers on that. Again, 16-11 scoreline. That's very, very impressive. And it looks like Bolts. I agree with that right there. Cash, it was the Bolts show, especially on CT side, don't you think?
Yeah, I do. He played next level good, and it really he had like this kind of like this instinctual play style that he used in a lot of situations in 1v1s and in 1v2s and he was able to get kills that he probably shouldn't have gotten. So that's a lot of that too. And another thing I want to point out too is that although for Luminosity Steel, 12, 4, and 15, he still did enough kills and like he got enough kills to be
Yeah.
able to support his team. And everybody's like, well, he bottom frag, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, it's like when you've got people like
Yeah,
Fallen
but he's a
and
lurker.
Bolts and Fur, right, he's a lurker. He's sometimes going to get picked early when the execute's happening over on the other side of the site. So it's just how it is. But overall, I mean, they played exceptional.
Yeah, it's one of those situations you were talking about Steele a little bit. I mean, he isn't exactly representing as much as he should, but my point is he's lurk. It's one of those sort of
Right.
positions where either you're going to go ham because you're just wrecking people in the back all day long, or you don't. Sometimes in the lurk position, especially if you're just sort of in an unfortunate situation, you end up sitting here trying to play lurk, and then by the time you push an angle, they're already gone. So you're constantly out of position, running and trying to catch up to the action. Then by the time you get into it, you're in the 1v3 retake, and you either save or you show up and probably get wrecked over there. And I don't know, maybe Steel saw a little bit of that going on. Either way, it was a stellar performance by Luminosity Gaming on their T side, and I honestly don't know what was going on CT. It shouldn't have taken that long to score 3 points and close out the map, especially against Follow eSports. I mean, CSGO Lounge is saying 95% and 5%, and I very heavily agreed with that. Follow eSports, they're a solid team, but they're not nearly as solid as somebody like Luminosity. I don't understand what the struggle was all about.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that when they lost a few of those rounds and then they decided that they were going to force a few rounds. They were frustrated with each other. They were frustrated. They were losing some rounds. And you pointed this out specifically. And let's go back and look at this. I mean, I think it was like round 22 or 23 for them. Like they lost a couple. They lost a round, and then lost another round. And they just forced up, and it kind of freaking screwed their
odd.
economy.
Well, it didn't hurt
you
it as
pointed
much as I thought.
Yeah, that's true. They were
Like,
able to recover.
yeah, I saw that and I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you forced buying like this? This makes no sense, because like with this buy, you're supposed to lose anyway, right? It's a long shot to win. All other things being equal. And then of course they lost the round. But that just sort of shows how smart Luminosity Gaming is. They figured out, with this many rounds lost, this is the floor price to buy down to. So they bought down to that floor, and they were still able to put together a really impressive buy. And I think they won right after that, didn't they?
I think they did.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. Well, I mean, Follow's got to be happy. And just looking at their Twitter, they said, they were happy. They seemed fairly happy with what they did. They said they were down, and they came back and did some things. And you got to be happy for him for being able
Yeah.
to do that against a team like that that really did
Well,
so well throughout the past several months.
Luminosity isn't just a good North American team. I mean, they're moving on up to that world class status, and especially if they continue playing as well as they have on the international stage. I'm kind of curious. I don't think that they've made it towards like Thorin's top 10 rankings or anything like that. But I'd be curious. I'm pretty sure that they're starting to step up within the controversial ESL world ranking system because they've been showing up at major events and they've been showing up in a very big way and representing. I'm not going to say North America, but I'm going to say Western Hemisphere, right? Because we got respect to Brazil hanging out down there in South America, representing for all of them and all the people in from Brazil hanging out and chat with us. So we do appreciate you guys being here. Just to recap what's going on here, 16-11 was your final score line for Luminosity Gaming versus Follow eSports. That was Luminosity's map choice. Interesting because Follow eSports is actually pretty good at Cache. It's one of their better maps. The next match is going to be Follow eSports' own choice of Inferno.